This meeting is being recorded in accordance with Council's webcasting of Council's meetings policy. The recording will be archived and made available for viewing at any time on Council's YouTube channel for a minimum period of 12 months. All care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, if you are in attendance in the public gallery, you should be aware that your presence may be recorded. Your continued attendance means that you agree to being recorded and also that you will abide by the Council's adopted code of meeting practice. The chairperson or general manager have the discretion to interrupt the recording of any meeting at any time should it be deemed necessary. This may occur in circumstances where commentary is considered to be misleading, defamatory or inappropriate to be published, or where behaviour breaches Council's adopted code of meeting practice. Councillors and senior staff are reminded that this meeting is being live streamed, and for the benefit of those viewing online, please ensure you use the microphone when speaking and make sure it's clearly spoken.
Could I ask all who are able to please stand for the prayer and acknowledgement of the country. Almighty God, give wisdom to those in authority and guide all peoples in the way of righteousness and peace, so that we may share with justice the resources of the earth, work together in trust and seek the common good. Amen. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people and recognise the strength, resilience and capacities of the Aboriginal people in this land. You may all be seated. Sorry, you're out of order, Mr. Crispin. Item 5, apologies for attendance by audio-visual link.
Mr. Mayor, I have two requests for attendance by audio-visual link, and that is for Councillor Smith and Councillor Hogan.
Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor North, Councillor Jennings. I now put the motion. Councillors, any discussion? I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 6.1, confirmation of minutes, ordinary council meeting 16th of August 2023. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Fry. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor, now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Declaration interest, item 7.1. General Manager, do we have any declarations of interest?
Mr. Mayor, I have three declarations of interest. One from Councillor Jennings in the Director of Cultural and Community Services, report number 8.5.2. I have one from Councillor Smith in the Director of Corporate Services and Finances Confidential, report number 12.1.3. And I have a declaration of interest from Councillor Fry in the Director of Environmental Planning and Building Services, report number 8.2.4.
Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Councillors, is there any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Sorry? Move and a seconder. Sorry, we have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.1, General Manager's report. General Manager, I'll leave the chair and leave the report to you.
For the information of the people in attendance, this item is the election of the Mayor. Under the legislation, I am the returning officer, so the Mayor has handed over this part of the meeting to me. It will be handling the election for the Mayor and also the election of the Deputy Mayor. Councillors, are there any further nominations for the position of Mayor? Councillors, I have two nominations for the position of Mayor. I've received one from Councillor Jennings and one from Councillor Taylor. As more than one person has nominated, an election will need to be held. The method of election needs to be determined by one of three methods, either preferential, ordinary or open voting. The standard practice for this council is open voting, in other words, a show of hands.
Mr. GM, can we have a show of hands?
Could I get a motion to that effect? Yep. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, And could I ask that that also extends to the Deputy Mayor's position, so that the election for the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor proceed by open voting? I'll put that to the Council. Is everyone in agreement, councillors? Marg and Struthi, thank you. That was unanimously agreed to. I'd now ask councillors to indicate who they vote for by raising their hand. I'll do it in alphabetical order. So the first person who's nominated is Councillor Jennings. Could I ask for an indication of those who will vote for Councillor Jennings? Councillor Jennings, Ian North, M. Fry, Kiralee Burke, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Councillor Hogan. On that basis, Councillor Jennings has 5 votes and accordingly is declared elected. Councillor Jennings, if you're happy, I will just finish this section, but you may wish to come and join up here. The second position is that of Deputy Mayor, and also, the Mayor is elected for the period to September 2024, where the next local government elections are due. In terms of the Deputy Mayor, I have 2 nominations. Could I just confirm with those councillors that they wish to have their nominations included? Yeah, you do. Okay. So I have 2 nominations, one from Councillor Hanger and one from Councillor Fry. Are there any further nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor? Councillors, as you're aware, this will be by open voting. I will go alphabetically in this matter, and I would ask those who will vote for Councillor Fry to please indicate. So Councillor Jennings, Councillor Fry, Councillor North, Councillor Burke, Councillor Hogan. Given that Councillor Fry has 5 votes, I declare that Councillor Fry has been elected as Deputy Mayor for the period to September 2024. Just a second. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the election for the positions of Mayor and Deputy Mayor, and I would hand the meeting over to yourself to conduct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Next item, item 8.1, General Manager's Report. 8.1.2, Disclosure by Councillors and Designated Persons Returns. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Berg, Councillor Orban. Any discussion? No. I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Declare it carried.
Mr. Mayor, I just point out for the community that these declaration of interest returns are a statutory requirement that the councillors and certain staff have to fill out each year. Those documents, if people wish to cite them, are publicly available at the council during business hours.
Okay, thank you. Next item, 8.1.3, Central New South Wales Joint Organisation Board Meeting, 24th, 25th August 2023, Sydney. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Orban. Councillors, is there any discussion? I'll now put the motion. Those for? Against? Declare that carried. Councillors, we'll now move to the Director, Environmental Planning and Building Services Report, 8.2, item 8.2.1, Section 4.15 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. Councillors, a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Is there any discussion? I now put the motion. Those for? Those against? Declare that carried. Item 8.2.2, General Report. Councillors, could I have a mover? Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Any discussion? Now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Okay. Item 8.2.3, Development Application Number 2023/203, Proposed Demolition and Construction of a New Dwelling at Lot 1 DP 38799, 334 Peel Street, Bathurst. Applicant Mrs A. Brown, owner Mrs A. Brown. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Hanger. Councillors, is there any discussion? No discussion? Okay. Councillors, put the motion and call for a division. Those for? Those against? Carried. Item 8.2.4, Development Application Number 2023-137, Change of Use from a shearing shed to a function centre. Councillor Fry, I'd like to declare.
Yeah, I've won the declaration of interest there, Mr Mayor. That's I'm a shareholder and director of a company that carries on at Function Centre in the same industry, so probably pecuniary, and I'll leave the room.
Thank you. Do we get told when he's left? Okay, we'll proceed with this item. 8.2.4, Development Application Number 2023/137, Change of Use from a shearing shed to a function centre at Lot 1, DP 251968, 1371 Tarano Road, Loxley. Applicant Mrs B. Delosa, owner Mr J. D. Delosa and Mrs B. L. D. Delosa. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder?
Mr Mayor, can I, we don't stand, can I just point out that with the amount of discussion that we had tonight, can we make a deferral on this matter?
Okay, could we deal with this item right now and then we'll bring forward the notice of motion? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, he's suggesting to defer this item.
Oh, okay, all right. You want to defer it? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Second that.
Second, Councillor North seconding a deferral. Okay.
Yeah, there's been a number of issues raised, and I think we should probably discuss them at some
Okay.
stage in the future.
Any other discussion on deferral? All those in favour of deferral?
Need a division.
Call a division, show of hands. Yep, everybody. Cool, the motion carried to defer.
Yeah, till we get some more information. Mr. Mayor. Thank
Sure
you.
thing. Okay. Item 8.2.5, Development Application Number 2023-165, Construction of...
Sorry, but until Ben.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Councillor Fry can come back if...
Neil, could
Can
you
someone give me a
ask for
second?
Councillor Fry to come back? He's back.
Stage exit.
Welcome back. Okay, item 8.2.5, Development Application 2023/165, Construction of 4 Light Towers, 189A Browning Street, Bathurst, owner Crown Land, applicant Bathurst Giants ARFC. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Fry. Councillors, is there any discussion? No? No one online? I'll put the motion and call for a division. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 8.2.6, Development Application Number 2021/596, Works in Kind Arrangement, 6-lot subdivision at 48 Hamblen Street, Eglinton. Applicant Buston Free Earthworks, owner TR&CS Wallace Proprietary Limited. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? No discussion. I'll now put the motion and call for a division. Those for? Those against? Okay, that carried. Item 8.2.7, Amendment to Bathurst Regional Community Participation Plan 2019. Councillors, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Hanger. Is there any discussion? Nope. Put the motion and call for a division. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Amendments, item 8.2.8, amendments to Bathurst Regional DCP and engineering guidelines, Laughing Waters Master Plan and earthworks. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor North. Is there any discussion? No. Now put the motion and call for a division. Those for? Those against? Carried. Item 8.2.9, policy review. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Is there any discussion? Nope. I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against, carried. Okay. Councillors, we now move to the Director of Corporate Services and Finance reports. Item 8.3.1, Statement of Investments. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor Burke. Any discussion? No. I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against, carried. 8.3.2, Monthly Review 2022/2026, Delivery Plan and Operational Plan 2022/2023. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Orban, Councillor Taylor. Is there any discussion? No discussion online. I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Item 8.3.3, Sundry Section 356 Donations, Bathurst Memorial Entertainment Centre Community Use Subsidy and Mount Panorama Fee Subsidy. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor Hanger. Any discussion? No. I'll put the motion. Those for, those against, carried. Item 8.3.4, Power of Attorney. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Hanger. Is there any discussion? No. I now put the motion. Those for, those against, I declare the motion carried. 8.3.5, Council Policy Review. Policies reviewed with no or minimal changes identified. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Is there any discussion? No. Those for, I'll put the motion. Those for, those against, I declare the motion carried. Item 8.3.6, Collaboration Agreement Renewal, use of Mount Panorama Pit Complex - TAFE New South Wales Western Institute. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Taylor, Councillor Orban. Councillors, is there any discussion? Not much discussion tonight. And I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against. I declare the motion carried. Item 8.3.7, 2023 Financial Statements. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Is there any discussion? No discussion. I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against. I declare the motion carried. Item 8.3.8, Code of Conduct Complaints, 1st of September 2022 to 31st of August 2023. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor North. Is there any discussion? I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against. I declare the motion carried. Item 8.3.9, request for sponsorship, Women's New South Wales Open Regional Qualifier. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor Taylor. Councillors, is there any discussion? No. If there's no discussion, I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against, declare the motion carried. Item 8.3.10, renewal of sporting licence agreement, part lot 7013 DP 1114435 and part lot 262 DP 728890, Brookmore Oval, West Bathurst. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Orban, Councillor North. Councillors, is there any discussion? No. I'll now put the motion. Those for, those against, I declare the motion carried. Councillors, we now move to the Director of Engineering Services reports. Director of Engineering Services report, item 8.4.1, proposed land acquisition affecting Lot 1 SP 82472, Lot 1 DP 808901, Lot 10 DP 804814 and Lot 24 DP 1085192, intersection of Hampden Park Road and Littlebourne Street, Kelso. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Councillors, is there any discussion? I now put the motion. Those for, those against, declare the motion carried. Item 8.4.2, water supply update. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Hanger. Is there any discussion? No Councillor North.
Yeah, just want to ask a question. It was said in public forum about the water fund having a $12 million decrease. Could we explain that the impacts of the dam wall structuring and where it started from the 9 million that we only got 2.25 and where it ended up with because of what was found? I think it needs to be explained to the community.
Sure, through you, Mr Mayor. The part of that, well, a significant part of that water fund is relating to the construction of the strengthening project to Wimbendale Dam. It was a project that was required to be done by the state government through the Dam Safety Committee. Wimbendale Dam was one of the top 5 unsafe dams in New South Wales. So the state government required us to strengthen the wall. The state government were engaged to actually undertake the design work for that project and they've provided the construction supervision for it. Upon commencement of construction, or partway through, the foundations of the existing dam that was built in 1933 or opened in 1933 wasn't to the standard as was expected. So considerable concrete was required to be poured at the toe of the dam wall, which was certainly a significant increase of cost of around about $6 million. So we're currently still in discussions with the state government about seeking additional funding. The state government did provide a funding ratio of around about 24%, so on the original estimate about $2.23 million. So we've requested consideration of the same ratio applied to the additional spend. So those discussions are ongoing.
How close are we to finishing that project?
It was finished last month.
Good.
Any other discussion or questions on water supply update? If not, I will now put the motion. Those for, those against, declare the motion carried. 8.4.3, Saltram Creek Crossing 11 Mile Drive. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor Hanger.
I'd like to make an amendment to that, Mr Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd hope councillors to support that. Council assigns $50,000 from the Stormwater Drainage Maintenance Fund to carry out the reported culvert works that are outlined in the report this year. And that council act in accordance with the rest of the Director of Engineering Services report. If you indulge me on a bit of background, Mr Mayor, this culvert is a particular problem in Eglinton. It proved a critical link between the city...
Sorry, could I just stop you before we go on? Maybe
Sure.
we'll get a seconder for your Councillor Burke.
Yep.
Continue.
It proved a critical link. It could have been a critical link in the city when the flooding occurred last year, and proves to be a pain point every time there's a medium downfall in that area, north side. It has a significant way to go, and the strategy is outlined in the Director's report. But I feel the least we could do to appease the community and stakeholders involved with that piece of land either side, commuters that use that road, businesses that rely on that road. While we have a bit of dry time now, we do clear out the culverts in the case of those heavy rainfall events that we may see during summer and in wetter periods. So just to clarify with councillors, it's that we assigned $50,000 from the Stormwater Drainage Maintenance Fund to carry out the reported culvert works this year.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. I agree with Councillor Fry. Like, this has been an ongoing problem out there at 11 Mile Drive. Being an ex-resident out there, or still a current resident out there at Eglinton, it's the main arterial road that will get us to Kelso. So I commend the council in putting this project forward. I think this will be a permanent fixture that which we actually need, because when we get to going fix up Hereford Street, this will be an access to and from Kelso when we have flooding. So I commend the council on this project. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any other comments, discussion? If not, I might get the General Manager to read out the amendment.
Councillor Fry, I'll take a bit of liberty with the wording. That one, council allocate funding of $50,000 to undertake cleaning of the culvert Saltram Creek 11 Mile Drive, with the works to occur this year. Two, the works be funded from the Stormwater Drainage Maintenance vote. And three, council act in accordance with the rest of the Director of Engineering Services report.
Okay, happy with that. I'll no further discussion on how to put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Councillors, we now move to the Director of Cultural and Community Services reports. Item 8.5.1, Disability Inclusion Action Plan, 2022/2027, Annual Update, September 2023. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Hanger, Councillor Burke. Is there any discussion? No. I now put the motion. Those for, those against, carried. This next one I have to declare my interest. Yes, so in item 8.5.2, the Arts Out West 2022 annual report, my wife works part-time for Arts Out West, delivering arts services into hospitals, and that is generally covered by the annual report. It's a bit of a long stretch, but I'll declare that interest and ask Councillor Fry.
Yeah, straight out.
Councillors, we're on 8.5.2, Arts Out West 2022 Annual Report. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Is there any discussion on the item? I'll put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. I'll hand the chair back to Councillor Jennings or Mr Mayor.
Item 8.5.3, Destination Brand Implementation and Destination Management Plan Quarterly Report, September 2023. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Hanger. Is there any discussion? Oh. I now put the motion. Those for, those against, carried. Item 8.5.4, International Youth Organisation of Japan, KSKK, Tour and Bathurst Visit 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Burke and seconder, Councillor North. Councillors, is there any discussion?
Yes.
Councillor Taylor.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Look, I had the pleasure of meeting these people, the students from Japan. It's a wonderful initiative that they've come over here and they've visited our wonderful city. Had a terrific time trying to decipher the language, but once again, it's a great initiative to bring these children over here. They range from, I think, 6 to 18, so, a big range of children. So it was wonderful to see them and well attended. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Very good. Any other discussion? Councillor Orban.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Just great to see these groups, these school groups especially, starting to come back into our city from overseas and promote us when they go back. So it's an excellent thing post-COVID, so hope it keeps going.
Thank you. No other discussion? Nothing online? In that case, I will now put the motion. Those for? Those against? Declare that carried. 8.5.5 Bathurst Library, Early Literacy Programs. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor Hanger. Is there any discussion? No? Oh, no. Sorry, I thought for a moment there Councillor Hogan had a hand up. Now put the motion. Those for? Those against? Declare the motion carried. Item 8.5.6, Bathurst Access Improvement Grants 2023/2024. Councillors, could I move it and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor Burke. Is there any discussion? No. I'll now put the motion. Those for? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Reports of other committees. Item 9.1, Traffic Committee Report, 5th of September 2023. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Is there any discussion? No. I put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Item 10, Notices of Motion. 10.1, Councillor Orban, SRV matter.
Mr Mayor, could I also make an amendment to my notice of motion, please?
Indeed.
And the amendment will read that Council not pursue this application for a special rate variation to the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal, known as IPART.
Yep.
And Councillor North, you're comfortable with that?
Very comfortable.
And I'm a third signatory on it. I'm comfortable with the change. So, Councillor Orban, you'd like to lead off?
Yep, thanks, Mr Mayor. There's a lot of passion in this room about this particular topic, and I've felt it from the get-go, and I've never been a fan of going to the people of this city to top up the coffers of the council. The notice of motion in front of us tonight calls for all the remaining public consultation forums to discuss the SRV be cancelled. I was totally dismayed that these forums went ahead in the first place, knowing that the community of Bathurst was and still is dead against an SRV of this enormity. To add to this, I now want to see an end to the SRV, which is of such magnitude that's untenable for ratepayers. Take it off the agenda. Everyone here in this room is already suffering with the current cost of living crisis, with no relief in sight for us, at least for the next year or two. We've had no help from the two upper tiers of government to relieve this current situation, and now the third tier, local government, wants to kick us while we're down. We as a council have to shut this SRV down tonight. We need then to sit down, we need to regroup and make some definitive plans for now and the future to get financials back on track. and we will. Some say that council is a business. I say it's not. Did any councillor in this room actually apply for the job? Or did we put our hat in the ring to be elected by the community of Bathurst to work for the community that we are elected by, to serve them and look after their best interests? I don't just work for the people who voted for me. I'm here to listen and work for the entire community of Bathurst. I've listened and I do work for this city and its people, a place where I was born and bred, and my dear departed father would roll over in his grave if he thought that I would be contemplating a rate rise of this magnitude on the fine people of this city. Well, I won't. And I hope the other 8 councillors here tonight won't either.
Okay, Councillor Orban, could we just clarify your actual amendment to make sure, are you talking about, are you adding that on to the existing original notice motion, or are you just replacing it?
We can,
Add it on.
well, I mean, it's a either or. If we put this in as the major...
So, Councillor, from what you're both saying, it'd be that Council 1 cease any further community consultation in regards to the special rate variation across the Bathurst LGA. 2, and that follows that council, not pursue the SRV for the Bathurst LGA to IPART.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I just, sorry, through you, Mr.
Councillor Taylor?
Can I just verify what date that would finish then, Mr. GM?
Tonight.
The action would be at midday tomorrow, because we allow for up to 12 o'clock the day after if someone wished to put in a rescission motion. But it would cease as at, if this went through and there was no alterations, as at midday tomorrow.
Thank you.
Councillor North.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Like Councillor Orban has said, we've been here for a long time and our families have been here for a long time. I'm a proud Bathurst boy and I'm proud that I've served this community since 2004. This was never on the table for me. There's been talk in the community that we should have done it years ago. Well, Councillor Orban and me, we go back a fair way. Back in 2013, if you talk about what the General Manager said in some of the discussions, we did start the reviews way back then, up in Macquarie County Council. But Councillor Orban was a part of it. We looked at it was council getting bang for buck. We've continued since then with internal audit committees and audits. This was never on the table. To give people a bit of an understanding to what goes on, that's why I asked when we were speaking tonight, it came up about water. When you look at the bottom line, you'll say it lost water, so we're not getting the money for water. That was said during debate at times in the past. We put away for a rainy day, so when that occurred, we were able to pay for it. You know, I've got to give credit to the engineers back in the 1930s that this dam has held up all that time. But we had to fix the dam that needed fixing. So we did. We did put away for a rainy day. We have done that for a long time. I would say everyone in this room that at some time has attended the library and art gallery, we've got some beautiful staff there that work hard. General Manager, I think, touched on, I think it was the General Manager early on. The library art gallery now is up to $2.8 million a year it costs us. I would never touch it, would never affect having the doors open because it's a community. And Councillor Orban made the comment, we're not a business, we serve a community. We've worked really hard. We had people here tonight, I think they're still here, about the business they want to move forward. I think that won't be a problem with some more discussion, but this is what it's about. We've got to give opportunity. How do you give opportunity? I hate saying the word pub test. I've said to a few councils here, and I know Councillor Orban herself have done a lot of talking to a lot of people. I hope we've convinced people to stop this here tonight, is what I call a mirror test. If anyone can look in the mirror and say to themselves that I can put a 70% rate rise on, I'll bet you that mirror comes back. It's not. Now, what was the saying, Snow White? They're not going to come back and say, you're the fairest of all. This is not fair. It should not have been done. We can do more. We have done more. But I'm going to make it very clear. COVID had a 6 to 8 million bottom line hit on our budget. We stopped land sales. What council could do land sales or even develop land during that time? 8 to 10 million hit. Put those two together. That is on a bottom line. I have a general manager out there in another council who's always been a mentor of mine for a long time. And I went to him and had a chat to him. He said, you're right on the money. Your council has been one of the better run ones for a long time, but you are like us. But you've had some major hits to major areas that have affected you. But we can get out of this, not a problem. We need to look at things like our airport. I know it's not palatable with our senior staff, but where we've leased hangars, we should sell them. Freehold. Potential 4 to 5 million could be made there. Some parts of our activities cost money, some don't. I'm also going to talk about backlog so you have an understanding. All the councils recently, we had a discussion about our rural bridges. I'm the only council left from amalgamation, and I think it was months before we amalgamated, we did our last wooden bridge. Great. We amalgamated with Evans, we got 19 or 20. Can I have a bit longer, please? We got 19 or 20.
Still got a minute.
We got 9 left. The estimated cost to bring them up to standard is around about $8 to $10 million. But what the people out here wouldn't know is, when we've knocked a single lane one down, people want a greater standard. So we'll go to 2 lanes, Armco and all that. So if we looked at and said, hey, are you guys prepared to accept we bring it to the modern standards, but it's 1 lane, we could need to take $6 million off our budget figure alone for bridges. I spoke to a former mayor today, and he agrees with me on our road structure, and I can't think of the gentleman's name. I had a good chat with him on Monday night, the accountant, about our roads. If people would say, look, and a lot of them are pretty good, there are the real bad ones, why do we resheet roads that don't do resheet? I've asked council for years that we need to look at our program. If anything, the passion of these people in the community has backed up what I've always thought, why I love doing what I do. I'm not for this. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot more I could go through. It's just the time doesn't allow me to.
Do you want
never
an
been
extension?
for it, never will be for it. Vote no, councillors.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor North. Councillor Burke.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. I'm tired. I'm sure everyone here is. So I attended 6 of the 7 sessions facilitated by Morrison and Lowe. I attended the community rally. I did an independent consultation with Councillor Fry at the park. I have fielded upwards of 70 or more calls and emails, and I've spent countless hours having conversations with the community. And essentially, I want you to know what my findings were. 1, there's a prevailing distrust in the current council. 2, every consultation has yielded the same response: the rate is too high, we can't afford it. 3, the proposed rate rise has caused significant distress in our community. For some, I have learned that if it proceeds, it's the line between keeping their business open or keeping their business shut. And for pensioners, it could mean choosing between medication and other essentials. And 4, it's imperative that we reevaluate and remove this alarming proposal from our discussions.
Thank you, Councillor Burke. Any other discussion? Councillor Smith online. Councillor Smith, can you hear us?
I've got you now, thank you. I suppose the question, I know it's been asked in many community forums, when was the long-time financial plan first really identified that it's under pressure to the council for the General Manager, please?
If you go back through budget reports, 2013 it was highlighted that we needed to seriously consider an SRV. That was discussed in the budget process each time with the councillors, and various actions were taken in response to that, cost savings, cutting measures, looking at extra revenues, but it's been discussed every budget period for the last 10 years, and it was also an item for consideration in the development of the community strategic plan that was adopted by this council.
Thank you for that. I suppose as a comment I heard earlier, you look yourself in the mirror and are you comfortable with this? No, I'm not, but I am very comfortable with what I see in the mirror that we've actually raised this concern with the community. There is a broader issue than just cutting costs and all this sort of stuff. We are not getting enough income to suit the outgoings. Now, as a family member, as a family of 2 young children, I want my children to have service levels of parks and everything as I've grown up with. So somewhere along the line, this is going to have to be addressed. And unfortunately, through this period at the moment, I totally feel the community's concerns, and I am really sort of concerned that the formula that's presented is not right. I think there could be an opportunity for another formula, but at the end of the day, the community feedback I see at the moment and feel and hear, I don't think any solution is going to come out of this process at the moment. I absolutely commend the staff for going through such a challenging process. I said originally when I voted to put it to public consultation that it's a numbers game, and unfortunately the numbers games don't lie. I have faith that there is no corruption as the community claims, but at the same time there is also opportunities for efficiencies. I also feel the sort of passion that's coming through from Councillor Orban and North that why this opportunity probably should cease, and I just don't know what the next steps are here from here. So I'm keen to hear the remaining discussions.
Councillor Fry.
Yeah, look, I agree with the sentiment of Councillor Smith. The rising costs for just about everything we do, the operating of the business of council continues as it does for households. I filled my car up the other day and I got a rude shot. That's not going to stop, and the state and federal government are not going to stop not giving us enough money either. So I'd suggest we start to make immediate representation to state and federal levels as soon as humanly possible to address this systemic problem with local government that Councillor Smith has rightly outlined as basic maths of outgoings not there. Outgoings are higher than incomings, and the cost shifting that is put on councils every year just adds up, and it's added up in a poor way. I think we can go back to the drawing board. I think we can actually find efficiencies to kick the can, so to speak, down the road a little longer. But I agree with Councillor Smith's rhetoric that I'm very proud that this discussion has happened with the community, because it needs to happen, and it needs to shine a light on the issue, the broader issue of local government and where it sits in the tiers of government. So I just wanted to agree with Councillor Smith, and I'll be making my vote based on that.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, look, I just want to endorse those words of Councillor Smith. What this process has shown that we have a problem, and it does start with state and federal government, I feel, and we need to lobby them. We have a JO organisation which is doing that at the moment, but this problem won't go away. The one thing that this has done is put a spotlight that, yes, there needs to possibly be more efficiencies and there needs to be more income, but when you've got inflation running at 6% and we're only getting 3.8 or 2.5% on a rate peg, it just doesn't add up. So yes, we go back to the drawing board. We have a look at what way we can do efficiencies and what way we can earn income. But down the track, this will have to be addressed again, I feel. Thank you.
Councillor Hanger.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, thank you. I don't approve of changing. We've had a program that's been put together by Councillor Morrison Lowe to go through to a certain date, the end of October. To move the goalposts in the middle of the game is a little bit different. I know that, people can laugh and carry on, but this is what it's about. There are 19,000 rate assessments in Bathurst, we've been told. Is that about correct? Give or take. Give or take. There are probably 100 people in the room. I'd like to say that the community, people are saying the community has spoken, the community this. There are a lot of people, 100 people here out of 19,000 is a lot. Now, I said there's 100 here now.
Please let Councillor Hanger
Thank you.
speak.
There are 100 here now. There are sort of some married couples and there are people together. But there are, yes, it is relevant. There are a lot of people out there who don't even know that we're talking about a rate rise or a special rate variation. Correct, because I wanted to...
Councillor Hanger, if you could address the Chair.
Sorry,
Thank
Mr
you.
Mayor. Yeah, I'd like to let the process run its course. That's what I would like, and that's why I'll be voting against it.
Thank you, Councillor Hanger.
Thank you.
Councillor Hogan, do you have a comment? Yep.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Can I just make a comment? Because I've been one of the councillors who have said that we are a business. I guess what's been at the heart of that comment for me is that we're a business in the sense that we can't run at a loss, because then we're no good to anybody. We're no good to our community. So that I guess that's where I'm coming from that. Can I please ask the question? There's no question, I don't think that the 68% is too high. We've heard that loud and clear. Can I just get a clear sense of what our options are moving forward, please?
General Manager.
Probably concisely, there is to complete this process, if Council wishes, completing the public consultation, and that can be altered if the Council laws so decide the consultation period. IPART have indicated that you can vary, but as to how the tribunal would react to that, we don't know. But certainly that could be varied. The process, if it continued, the Council could decide to go, after it gets the feedback report, decide to either stay with the current base case, which is just the rate peg each year. It could determine to go for either option 2, option 3 or option 4, or after considering the feedback from the community, the Council may determine a lesser figure, but a figure that is higher than the rate peg. And then that would need to be included as part, what would be the item that would be included in the application to IPART, given that we're required to let IPART know in November if the Council intends to apply for an SRV. That doesn't mean the Council necessarily adopts it. Then the process goes through. There will be a formal application which we would put through Council to IPART. They then consider that application and undertake their own consultation process, normally around about March or April of next year. And then after that, IPART would give a determination, I understand, in May, and that would then need to be taken into account in the budgetary process of the Council.
If we were to put this off for 12 months, to say, would the process that we're currently going through be wasted in terms of all the information that we've gathered from the community?
We probably need to restart the process, but I don't see that what we have done would be wasted because you will have a lot of community consultation feedback. During the next 12 months, I'd imagine that the community will continue to provide additional feedback. So that is of benefit. The initial figures done by Morrison Lowe are useful, but they would need updating to look at where the finances are after another 12 months, and probably if there were more up-to-date ABS figures, they could take those into account.
Councillor Hogan? Are you contemplating? You still
Yeah,
talking?
sorry, I'm just thinking, you know, there's no question that the circumstances have changed since the 2021 figures from Morrison Low. And as I've said in a few forums, you know, two things can be true. I know that we have to look at some things deeply internally, but I'm also extremely conscious of those wider issues. And yeah, I'm just trying to find a way through this.
Okay, thank you. Councillor question, Councillor North.
I guess question is to you, Mr Mayor, as the new mayor. Could I sorry to put you on the spot, but
No,
I think
that's right.
the people have a right to know what you're feeling. You're in the chair now. The councillors on screen, Councillor Hogan suggested maybe you could give an idea of a direction you would like to see, because like I think everyone agrees you can't, you know, let this.
I agree.
without the information.
If I can make some comments following that suggestion. So I made it very clear the other day on radio that I believe we can resolve this within a week to 2 weeks, and that we as a council need the opportunity to regroup and come up with an answer that indicates we have listened. And I believe me, I have no doubt that every councillor here has heard very clearly, and so has every staff member who's been in front of all the community sessions, that the three options that are on the table from 50% onwards are not palatable. We get it. We've heard that, and we can see that we cannot proceed on that basis. Having said that, we also recognise there's a need to go down this path at some point. Now, the General Manager made a comment earlier that the Morrison Low consultancy alone cost around $120,000. Add probably another $20,000 or $30,000 for consultation sessions. You're talking about throwing away over $150,000 or $160,000 in a process that you want to repeat in 12 months' time. Now, I'm not up for wasting ratepayers' money, because that is actually what you are anticipating doing. So I would like to, well, it seems to me also that we don't need long. We've heard you. We've heard very clearly. We need a week to get our house in order, to work out what are the internal cuts and changes that we can make. Thank you. Thank you. We're also looking at the scenario right now that this notice of motion, the amended version, will probably lose. So I would like to suggest a potential amendment, and if somebody's, if you're looking at what the figures are looking like at the moment, So I would like to suggest a amendment, and if there's a seconder for this, then we can work on it, that one, Council acknowledges the strong community feedback on the current SRV regarding ratepayers' capacity to pay, and two, Council ceases the community consultation in regards to the current SRV by the 27th of September 2023, next Wednesday. So, councillors, I put that as a proposed amendment. Do I have a seconder? Okay. Hang on.
Question?
Well, I just, I'll declare that that's lapsed. That motion, that amendment is lapsed. Councillor Hogan, question? So we're back to the original.
That was what I was just questioning. Where are we at with what Councillor Orban put forward?
Mm-hmm.
Where we're at the moment is as at 12 o'clock tomorrow, because I'd obviously allow for the timeline through our code of meeting practice, that the process will cease.
So that is what's before us as an amendment at the moment.
Yes, that we stop public consultation and that we not pursue the SRV for the Bathurst LGA with IPART. From a practical point of view, obviously the council would continue to pursue the sustainability initiatives that were identified in the Morrison Lowe report as to potential movements in incomes and expenditure. So we would continue on those because they're items that have been raised and logical that we should be doing that. But in terms of the SRV side, that has ceased and would only reignite again if the council determined to go that way.
Questions? Councillor Fry?
Yeah, I just had a question for the General Manager.
2 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I've got a question. Do you anticipate, yes, we've outlined some efficiencies and possible sustainability measures in that. Do you anticipate bringing to councillors other efficiencies or commercialisation aspects from some of our assets point of view, perhaps a working party that might come forward out of a result of that?
Definitely we'd need to, because the decision not to go for an SRV means the council needs to be looking at a figure of around about $16 million a year to reduce in its costs. So we would be coming back to discuss the Morrison Lowe efficiencies, but also we would need to talk to the council about service levels and discuss those. It might be service level changes. There may be some assets, but I've got to say I don't see there are a lot of assets for sale, particularly given that our major commercial items are returning a commercial rent. And so a one-off sale, whilst is good, doesn't replace regular income.
And a supplementary question to, well, I guess the Mayor, how quickly do you anticipate we could make representation to other levels of government to put our priorities in order, I suppose?
Very quickly. I haven't mentioned this to the General Manager yet, but I have a meeting with Premier Chris Minns tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and that will obviously be raised at that meeting. I would also put in that into context. We are dealing with IPART in this process about how we manage our rates, so that's not necessarily a direct adjustment to the SRV issue, but I do intend to put Bathurst front and centre of the Minns Labor government and also the Albanese Federal Labor government, and that starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Councillor Burke.
I just wanted to ask a question about if the consultation ceases for our money, do we still get the report from the consultation sessions? I would like that we at least get that for our money.
Yeah, and that probably goes to the heart of some of the questions. Yes, we would still get that report, and so that's why I was saying that in answer to the question raised earlier, you're not losing the value because that data would be needed and would be useful for future directions if the council decided to revisit this issue after undertaking other reviews.
And will it be made public once we receive it back?
The report, yes, it would go to the council, the report. There's no... It's the same as all of the Morrison Lowe and internal documents are all on the Your Say site, so you would look at providing that.
Councillor Smith has a question, I believe.
Yes. Apologies, I probably should be across this, but question, probably to the General Manager, how quick can we turn around a timely, like maybe a 3-month survey on Your Say, for example, of the willingness, given this is topical, of the community, what they would be prepared to pay to continue the process for a future application that's why it's topical? Can we do that, and can that be added to an amendment?
Well, at this stage, the council's decision is to cease all consultation in that space. So there won't be any undertaken, and that will send the message to the community that the SRV has stopped. Can I say, Councillor, in terms of the SRV, if the council's position is not to go ahead with it, then I think you need to completely do that, because there are issues of the community saying, well, you're saying you're going to stop it, but now you're suddenly going to keep talking. That does raise issues of trust. I think the first thing that needs to happen is that we action the Morrison Lowe items, and then we have, over a period of time, discussions between staff and councillors about the services we provide and where some of them may be determined as a way to fund some of this. If it's going to directly impact the community, then you may wish to go out for consultation there. If it's items that you may decide that you're going to sell, well, that will be then something I think the council would just do straight off.
Councillor Hogan.
The piece that is missing in all of this for me is should it fall to the council or should it fall to the community to be having a say in, sort of picks up on what Councillor Smith was saying in a way, of should it fall to the council or should it fall to the community to be making the decisions about what they want in terms of those levels of service? Like, I wish in a way that we had gone down the path of what Queen Deanne had done and offered three different types of options to the community and been able to spell out what each of those meant in terms of what services we may or may not lose. If we wanted to try and get that information moving forward, how would that best be done?
Well, I'm sure some of that information about what the community wants will be included in the submissions that have been made to council. So your first thing would be to see the public response report, because that will give themes and suggestions. The other area that you could look at the moment is the recent community survey, which gave comments about satisfaction, but the matrix talked about satisfaction, but the necessity of certain items. So you would look at that data. I think the council then would have further discussions on that and where items were seen, and we know we won't do it, and that's why I use this example. If it was to close the library, then that would be something that certainly I'd be saying we need to, and I'm sure the council would say you would need to go and talk to the community about. So I think there's a couple of stages, and I'm taking it from the feedback we were getting in the meetings that people have not only been putting in whether they agreed with 1, 2, 3 or 4, and the majority clearly have said they want the base level kept, but there are other suggestions, and we certainly would encourage more feedback there. Then it may be that the council decides to undertake another community survey with targeted questions in those spaces.
And just to be clear, would you imagine that that could still happen within the existing SRV process, or would it move into next year, and we would potentially look at this again in 12 months' time?
Certainly the discussions with respect to the Morrison Low suggested expenditure cuts or revenue increases can happen straight away. It's just a matter of resourcing and getting the people available to do them whilst they've got their existing jobs. In terms of the looking at other projects, that's as resources become available. The SRV, I think, process, if the council now determines, which it appears to be, to not go with it, given that you've got an election in September of next year, it's probably an item that the new council would include in the community strategic planning process. For the community who are just sitting here, the council at the start of a term undertakes consultation and produces the community strategic plan that gives the general direction of the council for the next 4 years. I would see that that would be something that would be brought up as an item for discussion in the public consultation, as it was last time when we did the community strategic plan.
I move the motion be put.
Okay.
Second that.
Yep. Okay, thank you. All right, so Mr. General Manager, could you read the motion as it stands?
Can I close this down, please?
Hang on.
Can I close this down?
Certainly, Councillor Orban to close debate.
Thank you. Okay. I'll just repeat what I said before.
Sorry, we couldn't hear that.
Oh, so Councillor Orban is just closing debate.
No, just with regards to what the motion is at the moment.
Sorry. The motion before the council is that Council 1 cease any further community consultation in regards to the special rate variation across the Bathurst LGA, and 2, not pursue the SRV for the Bathurst LGA with IPART.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Orban.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I will repeat what I said in my original blurb, was we as a council have to shut this SRV down, sit down, regroup and make some definitive plans for now and the future to get financials back on track. I reiterate that. The people of Bathurst have spoken, and why would we continue this process for another 2 months, and the distress and the mental health issues that we will place on the people of Bathurst would be extraordinary. $150,000 is quite a small price to pay for the result that we've got out of these talks. It's a definitive no. Don't go there. I really feel that we have the power, we have the knowledge to be able to sit down and bring ourselves out of this situation rather than the easy grab of money off our ratepayers. It just can't happen. Everyone's suffering under the cost of living. We cannot add that to the people of this city. It's just not right. So I'll leave it with that, and I just hope that my fellow councillors will see the same light and vote for this motion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Orban, for those remarks. So I'll now put the motion. Do you want to read it one more time? Make sure.
That Council 1 cease any further community consultation in regards to the special rate variation across the Bathurst LGA, and 2, not pursue the SRV for the Bathurst LGA with IPART.
Okay. All those in favour? Councillor Orban. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I declare the motion carried.
Sorry, can you just read it once more?
Okay. Sorry, Councillor Hogan.
I'm just
the
not
motion
hearing
was
it. Can
the
you just
motion
read
was
it once
carried.
more, please?
The motion was carried.
Sorry, what
Oh,
was
okay.
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, that's one big bugbear off this council's back for the meantime. So let's move on, shall we? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, we move on to item 11, Councillors and Delegates Report. Item 11.1, Minutes, Councillors meeting with community groups, representatives 9th of August 2023. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Fry, Councillor North. Is there any discussion? Nope. I now put the motion. Those for, those against, declare that carried. Item 11.2, Minutes of the Bathurst Regional Youth Council, 21st of August 2023. Councillors have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Fry. Is there any discussion? Sorry, Councillor Smith, question?
Could I just, apologies, we're getting a lot of the background noise from the gallery, so I actually can't hear what we're voting on, so apologies for that.
Okay.
If we could just respect the rest of the
Could I
meeting.
just ask that we suspend the meeting for a moment? I'm assuming everybody in the gallery wants to head home, pretty much. All right. We'll just wait for the gallery to clear out a bit more. Councillor Smith and Councillor Hogan, and then we'll proceed. Okay, background noise okay there, Councillor Smith and Hogan? Great. Okay, we were up to 11.2, minutes of the Bathurst Regional Youth Council, 21st of August 2023. Could I have a mover and a seconder? We had Councillor North and Fry. Yep. Any discussion? No. I'll now put the motion. Those for? Those against? Carried. Item 11.3, minutes councillors meeting with community groups representatives, 23rd of August 2023. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Orban, Councillor North. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Declare that carried. Item 12, resolve into confidential committee of the whole, deal with confidential reports. Councillors, we're now due to go into confidential committee. Could I have a motion to go into confidential meeting of council? Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Are there any members of the public and press who wish to make representation to the council as to whether the matters should or should not be dealt with in confidential committee? No, but, and where's the press? Are they here?
Yeah, out the back. Oh, yeah, they're waving up the back.
You're there? You're not objecting? As there are no representations, now I put the motion to go into confidential committee. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
If the people in the gallery...
Thanks for coming, guys.
Okay. The council is now going into confidential session. Could I ask you to leave the theatre, please? Could I also ask that the live the door's open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, the
Hang on,
coun-
hang on. Are we back on live, Nick? Thank you.
Mr Mayor, Council has just met in closed session and the following recommendations have been made to the Council. Director of Corporate Services and Finance's confidential reports, item 12.1.1, renewal of commercial licence agreement, part lot 10, DP 1157553 Durham Street Car Park. Recommendation is that Council approves the renewal of the commercial licence agreement for part lot 10 DP 1157553 known as Durham Street Car Park for a period of 12 months as detailed in the report and subject to special conditions. Item number 12.1.2 Communications Licence Agreement, part lot 1 DP 774489 230 Howick Street, Bathurst. That Council approves entering into a new communications licence agreement for part lot 1 DP 77489 known as 230 Howick Street, Bathurst for 3 years as detailed in the report. Director of Engineering Services report 12.2.1 construction of stage 2 Centennial Park landscape upgrade. The recommendation is that Council accept the tender of Speeds Landscaping Proprietary Limited in the amount of $1,232,233.69, GST inclusive, including selected provisional items as detailed within the report, subject to adjustments for the construction of Stage 2 Centennial Park landscape upgrade. Mr Mayor, we do those 3 items first because Councillor Smith can be here for that. For the other item, Councillor Smith will need to vacate the screen.
Okay.
So we need a mover and a seconder for those 3 I've read out.
Move and a seconder, please. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Any discussion? All those in favour? Now put the motion. Sorry, all those in favour? Against? Carried.
Now, Councillor Smith has declared an interest in the other items, so needs to vacate from the meeting. Councillor, I don't think you need to come back to the meeting.
Thank you,
Do I
Councillor.
need to read out?
You can declare your interest, but it's, yeah. Just declare.
Non-pecuniary, non-significant, and will leave the chamber. The nature is Bathurst Golf Club is a customer, my employer, of which I conduct monthly visits. See yous.
See you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillors, Councillor Smith has gone. So the item is 12.1.3 of the Director of Corporate Services and Finance's report. Request for water charges adjustment Bathurst Golf Club, and the recommendation is that Council not approve a further write-off to the golf club's water account.
Have a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Burke, Councillor Fry. Any discussion? Sorry, I thought your hand was up then. No discussion. I now put the motion. Those for? Those against? I declare the motion carried. And
that's it closed.
That's it. Meeting closed. I now declare the meeting closed at 9:40 p.m. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, Councillors. It's a bit earlier than I thought it might have been.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. You going back to bed, or are you going to try and stay up? You're going to go to a bar around the corner.
Put an all-nighter. I'll leave it here.